Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Let me get all of our buttons and everything properly set up here. Beautiful. Okay. What an incredible day. Let me see. Mm, we have so much going on this morning that here we go. All right. I want to welcome everyone. We have a lot of people joining us today, and I want to welcome everyone on Instagram, on YouTube, and especially our studio audience. We'll call it our studio audience, the mastermind group, the group of people who get up at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, 5 o'clock on the West Coast to come in and hear a message and to share their ideas. This is Success Mentorship class number 413, and our topic for today is all or nothing. We are blessed with a guest speaker today, a guest speaker, but one who is an integral part of the Success Mentorship Network, who's been involved with the program, gosh, for years, and who I've seen grow and just become an incredible speaker, teacher, trainer. Of course, I want to invite you to visit our website, www.herbertharris.com. And as we go into this new year, to be sure to schedule a success consultation. You know, everybody needs a coach, and sometimes when you have a coach, you'll get some questions answered not by the coach, but by the coach helping you pull the answers outside that are already there. So before we go any further, let us get ourselves centered and prepare for this incredible message from Dawn Lovell. So let's sit straight up in our seats, close our outer eyes, open our inner eyes. Take a deep breath and hold it. Let it out slowly. Take a deep breath and hold it. Let it out slowly. And in this space of peace and relaxation, we give thanks for this opportunity to come together and to be as one. In this state of peace and relaxation, we can affirm, I am at peace with myself. Let us affirm that together. I am at peace with myself. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And in the space of peace and relaxation, my mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let us affirm together. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. So it is. Well, today, let me pull up Dawn because she is one of the people that I have watched her grow over the years and just super impressed at how she has become a speaker, a trainer, an author, just one of those people that is beginning to live their dreams. So, Dawn, welcome, welcome, welcome to Success Mentorship class number 413.
Wow, good morning, Dr. Harris. 413. That's a lot of shows. Good morning to you. Good morning, Mastermind Group. It is always a pleasure to sit in this seat on the other side. And I just want to shout everyone out. I say welcome to all of those that are on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're watching us. And whenever you watch this, whether it's now or in the future, I pray that you will be blessed by this word. Um, as per usual, as things happen in my life, there's certain downloads that I get. And I said to Dr. Harris, I haven't spoken in a while, but I believe that I have a word. And even throughout the week, you're always trying to figure out like what is it that the people need to hear? What should my message be? How can I engage those that are going to be listening? How can I make sure that the audience leaves impacted and transformed? And this topic, all or nothing, came to me. And I said, well, this is an interesting topic and it sounds pretty intense, but why all or nothing? And then the Spirit said to me, because this is the time where you need to re engineer your life for your next level. So I am going to ask those that are in our success mentorship group this morning, how many of you are ready for your next level? And you can put that in the chat. You can raise your, thumbs up, whatever. How many of you are ready for your next level? And I'm going to make a disclaimer here right now. First of all, this message is not for those that are comfortable. Okay? This message is not for those that are already feeling fulfilled. If you have all the money, all the things that you want in life, you're comfortable, you're okay, you're like, this is the path that I'm on. I'm happy with where I am at. I'm happy with what I've accomplished. I just want to settle and relax now. This message is not necessarily for you. Now you can listen and you may realize at some point during this message that you're not as fulfilled or content as you think that you are. And that's fine too. But this message, just in case this morning that you're feeling a little bit like there's more to me than this. If you're feeling a little bit more like, okay, there's a life that I want to live that I haven't quite gone there yet. Just in case you feel like there's a part of me that still needs to evolve into a greater version, then definitely this message is for you today. So I want to say thank you for hearing me out. And I pray that as you listen to this message and as we get to the end of this message, that there'll be something that you will take away that will be transformative. Something that you will take away that will totally shift your mindset from where you are today to where you want to be. So let's talk about this all or nothing. Now, as I said, that kind of sounds really, really intense. But I want to share with you and I want to submit to you that it's not necessarily about intensity or only intensity. It really has a lot to do with your identity. Yes, it's not all about intensity because sometimes we think, I need to be more intense. I need to do more. I need to do, you go to gym. I need to do more reps. You're in business and it's been working pretty good. So I need to do more of this. But can I submit to you that it's not always about intensity, but more about identity? What does that mean? So I don't know how many of you have read this book, but I've been reading this book called 10X is Better Than 2X. And this is a book by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And what they explained is that it is actually easier to 10X your life than to 2X it. And I've been really studying this concept because I'm saying, but it doesn't make sense. If I want twice as much, I will do twice as much stuff. If I want 10 times as much, I'll do 10 times as much. The math equation. But realistically, that's not the way it works. And this is the genesis for my topic this morning, all or nothing. Let's be honest about it. The hard truth is, let's be honest, is that if you had everything that you needed or you wanted, then you'd be okay. You wouldn't need to do anything else, right? And if what you were doing was going to get you there, then again, you wouldn't need to do anything else. But can we be honest to say that most of us are not where we want to be? And that means that what we're doing, not that it's not good, but it's not gotten us to where we want. And then I submit to you that if that's the case, then maybe something needs to change. Something needs to change. Now, Dr. Harris has had his class, the new you for the new year. And we're all excited when a new year starts. I'm going to do all this. I'm going to put my goals down. I'm going to be more committed to my goals. All these wonderful resolutions that we have. And some people say, well, I don't make New Year's resolutions. But most of you have made goals. You've set yourself some things to accomplish for the year. And I want to ask you to be truthful and honest with yourself. Is this not something that you've done year after year after year? And can you see that year after year after year, you've seen your level of growth double, triple, 10 times? Have you seen that? And if not, then maybe again, something needs to change. You see, because what happens is, and why this identity model is so important, is because if you put your energy into something that's giving you a particular output, and you continue to place your energy into that particular thing, what happens is the output doesn't change. Let me say that again. If you put your energy into something and you're getting a particular output, putting more energy into it does not necessarily equate to you getting a greater output. Can I submit to you that maybe you're putting your energy into a version of yourself that has now become outdated? And that may sound harsh. It may sound a bit harsh, but let me break this down for you. You see, our next level, for those of you, and some of you put your hands up like, yes, I want to go to the next level. What does that look like for you? Because first we need to clarify, what does that look like? What does my next level look like? Who would I be? What would I be doing? How would I be dressing? How would I be speaking? How would I be interacting? How would I be doing business? What would my relationships look like? And it's important for us to clarify that from the very beginning, because you know what? Many of us, we have to understand that there's some barriers that have kept us from evolving into that next level. And if we be honest today is a truth day. Today is an honesty day. Today is where we have to look at ourselves and say, oh my goodness, you know what I've been doing, it just hasn't gotten me to where I want to get. What I've been doing, it's been good, it's been okay, but the results that I want to 10x my life. Because you see, many of us on here, if we be honest, we're low and fast in years. Most of us in here, we're grown, we've had children, some of us have grandchildren. We are in the golden years of our life. Do we have the time to 2x? Do we have the time to incrementally grow? Maybe you might, I don't. So I'm telling myself, I need to 10x, I need to 1000x, it needs to be big leaps. And sometimes we think to do that, there's so much that we have to do. And what happens is we end up doing a lot more and we're exhausting ourselves. But really and truly, we're not seeing that multiplicity of growth that we want. We're not seeing that big expansion. And that's because, you know why? Because there's some barriers that have kept us from getting that exponential growth that we need. So let's break those down and let's talk about the contradictions here. So many of us, me included, and I had to face this fact, and I've cried many tears. And I'm actually really glad that I did, because the intensity of where I need to go and the intensity of the passion that I feel for the thing that I'm called to do and the passion I feel for the solution I need to bring needs for me to go deep. So one barrier I've identified is the barrier of fear. Fear. And some of us may think, I'm not scared, I'm not afraid of certain things, but are you really? Because fear puts up a barrier. And this morning on my bed, as I laid meditating on this word to share today, this vision came to me. And in it, I saw a wall of fear. I saw a wall of fear. And that fear needed to be broken down. I saw the walls crumbling, because what happens is fear, and a barricade is something that protects. A barricade is something that comes to shield. And if we have a shield of fear between us and our vision, between us and our purpose, between us and our ultimate goal, there is only so far that you can go, and you will continue to butt the wall or the barrier of fear. So can I submit to you, instead of fear, we need to build faith. The word says faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Fear is a substance. It supports your goals. It supports your mission. It supports your purpose. You have to build fear. Fear and faith cannot operate in the same space. And if you're like me, I've gone to a point where I want to experience things at the ultimate level. I'm tired of the watered down version. I'm tired of just having, just enough money, to do this. I'm tired of just having enough faith just to operate here. I'm tired of having just enough energy just to do the bare minimum. I'm tired of just being in that job because it just supports my paying my bills. That's the point I've gone. I want the maximum. I want the uttermost. And for those of you that are with me this morning, you want the uttermost, you can, again, put your hands up, give me a thumbs up, because I want the uttermost. And this message is for those of you that want the uttermost. So that barrier of fear has to be broken. How is it broken down? By you deciding and making a decision, I'm going to go forward. And I'm going to help you understand how that decision is made. Secondly, you're going to need unity. Unity as opposed to division. And let me explain what I'm saying. To divide something means to fracture. It means to fracture wholeness. To divide something means it was already whole, but now it is split apart. It is divided, it is fractured. We need to make sure that we are whole. Our heart is whole. Our mind, body, and spirit are whole. Everything is operating on the same trajectory. Everything is operating on the same frequency. Many of us, we're still divided. We're divided internally. We're divided. Our heart is saying one thing. Our actions are proving another. Our thoughts are saying something. Our soul is speaking something else. Our spirit is guiding us a direction, but the fear has contaminated our soul. And therefore, we are living a divided and a fractured version of ourselves. We need a unified effort, both mind, body, soul, spirit, words, community, everything must be unified. That's how you're going to get what I call concentration of effort. And when you're concentrated in your effort, then the expansion that you need, it becomes multiplied. All right. So a lot of us too, we've tolerated things. Our level of tolerance is too low. So we've tolerated people, we've tolerated situations, we've tolerated jobs, we've tolerated our own thoughts, negative thoughts. We've tolerated things in our life that have watered down and diluted what it is we really want. And I'm going deep today because this message has to transform your way of thinking, being, acting, behaving, speaking. It has to. If it doesn't, I haven't done my job here today. So, tolerance. Tolerance is what I call a passive endurance. You're enduring, you're suffering through things that really and truly you're telling yourself, okay, if I just give a little here. Living your all or nothing calls for intolerance. And again, it might seem extreme because we're living in a world that's asking us to be more tolerant. Yes, be more tolerant. Be more tolerant with your loved ones. Be more tolerant with yourself. Give yourself space to mess up. Give others the space to do that. But with your dreams, you have to be intolerant. You have to hear me here clearly today. You cannot optimize your way out of this. Elon Musk had a really great statement. He said, the biggest mistake engineers making is optimizing a thing that should not exist. And he's speaking of this in the context of engineers creating new stuff. But how many of you are engineering your life? And you have to look at it. Am I optimizing something that really shouldn't exist? Is this part of who I am? Is this part of what I'm called to? Is this part of my mission right now? Because 10x in your life, even though it sounds like an oxymoron, it means defining and reducing, decreasing to what is just what you need in the moment to move forward. So 10x, as I said, it sounds like a total opposite, total oxymoron. But let me share with you one thing here, or a couple of things. You see, we cannot become who we're called to be while we're still protecting who we was or who we were. We cannot. It is impossible. And let me share with you the cost of optimizing what shouldn't exist. This is the cost. Lost time. And I want you to write these down because you need to go back and meditate on this word afterwards for about a week or 2 weeks. You got to meditate on it. Lost time. Your years are spent in being perfecting a version of you that was never meant to exist. A delayed purpose. Your destiny is delayed, it's postponed. Frustration, chronic frustration. I can put my hands up and say, I lived in chronic frustration. I don't know how many of you, you don't have to put your hands up if you don't want to, but I have to admit and I have to be honest. There was a chronic frustration that plagued my life. 4, burnout. All of these I've suffered. Burnout. You're so tired and exhausted. But when you look at what you've accomplished, you're saying to yourself, my God, I've worked so hard. I've done so much. But where am I now? I'm tired and I'm exhausted, but I cannot see the fruit of my labor. You're stunting your growth. You cap your future. You cap where you're supposed to be. You ever heard of the law of the lid by John Maxwell? He talks about the law of the lid for leaders. And he said, a person cannot go higher than their leader because there's a cap. Well, you are leading your life. What cap have you put on your life? Wrong relationships. If you don't know who you are and what you want to accomplish, and if you don't go for the all or nothing, you're going to settle for relationships that are not going to put you in the all or nothing phase, the all or nothing part of your life, the all or nothing you, the perfect version of you, the elevated version of you. You're going to settle for relationships that appreciate and understand and want to hold on to the watered down version of you, not the potency of who you are. Missed opportunities. This is something I've lived because you know what? Those opportunities that are looking for you at the 10x level, they cannot reach you because you're operating at the 2x level. They don't recognize you there. That door will never open until you reach that level. It will never open for you. Missed opportunities, low courage, your courage muscle is not strong enough. Let me give you an example. Recently, I started a master's. Now, I delayed my master's for 20 years. I was afraid to do a master's because I was afraid to do a thesis. Since then, I have 5 books on my computer. 1 is published, 2 is with the publisher, and there are another 3. What was that? It was fear. Now, I started my master's late last year. And I didn't know I started with the hardest class, the research paper. And I was crying. I couldn't sleep. I was anxious. I talked to Dr. Harris. I talked to my friend Herman on here. I said, I don't know how to do this. But I want you to know, and I decided I was going to quit. But I want you to know I had to develop a muscle. And can I tell you, I submitted my first paper and I failed it. I failed. I came back, I said, my God, after all the work, I failed. But you know what? I got to resubmit. And with my second resubmission, now I know better. I now know what it takes to do a research paper. I had to develop a muscle that I had never developed before. Some of us, our muscles, our faith muscles, our courage muscles are underdeveloped. This next version of you, the all or nothing version of you, is going to require you to develop that faith muscle. That courage muscle has to be developed. I think there's a book that's called, I think, The 5 Regrets of People. That might not be the title, but what this book speaks to is that people that were on their deathbed, when you were interviewed, they talked about all the regrets that they have. Silent regret is what is going to cost you. It's going to cost you. This is a big one for me. How is it you can become efficient at doing the wrong thing? How is it that you can become good at doing the wrong thing? Because you spent your time being an aversion, doing a thing that was not for you in the first place. You're optimizing something that should never exist. So let's talk about it. How do we break through? How do we break through? And this is something Dr. Harris and I, we've been talking about doing some classes, and this is one that I believe is going to bring great transformation to people's lives because it's something that cannot be taught in a half-an-hour session. But one of the things I want you to think about is getting 2 pieces of paper. And I want you to write down who you are right now. And you may not be able to do this in this session, but this is homework for your own personal homework. Who am I right now? What am I doing right now? Is it getting me to where I want? What are my goals? How's my day spent? What are some of the excuses that I have? What are some of the things and the people that I have been tolerating? What are the things that I've been justifying? This is just for clarity. This is not to condemn yourself. But secondly, there's another piece of paper that I want. And I want you to write the new you. Dr. Harris does the class, the new you for the new year. The new you. What does the new you look like? What does the new you think like? What does the new you speak like? How does the new you make choices? And I want you to sit with that old you. And I want you, as you read it, what's going to happen is you're going to have some emotions that are going to come up. I've been crying the last couple of days, joyously so. But also because there's a fear that I had to admit that was sitting deep in my soul. There was a fear that said, you're not good enough. There was a fear that said, this is all you're gonna amount to. There was a fear that says, you're not ready. There was a fear that said, you don't have enough information. There was a fear that says, you don't have the right community. There was a fear that said, there's nobody to support you. There's a fear that said, I don't know what's going to happen. Suppose it fails. I failed my first paper. That's the first paper I failed in my life. But there was another part of me that said, but there's more. And there was another part of me that wanted to feel. You see, what happens to us when we settle is that a part of us dies. It's like a slow death. And it's painfully aching on the inside of us. And we try to mask it. We try not to acknowledge it, but it's there. And I said, you know what? I want to feel things in an intense manner. Failing my paper, working on that paper and building that muscle, because I always hated research. I'm like, why do I have to do research? But I want you to know, doing that paper has led me to build a course that I know is going to bring a solution. And I know how to substantiate not just what I think or what I believe, but I have evidence. I know how to find the evidence to back what I knew was in my heart for over 10 years. There's evidence to support it. So what you need now is to understand that what God has given you, there's evidence to support it. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. The evidence, your faith is your evidence. And again, that sounds really weird because I'm not seeing it. How can I have faith? How can that be evidence? Because your vision supports the thing that you need to move forward. So, as we begin to wrap up, that second piece of paper, you're going to look at it and you're going to write everything that God has placed in your spirit. It doesn't matter how big it is. It doesn't matter. You see, what happens is, again, I've been listening to Dr. Benjamin Hardy, and I love, his teachings and his frameworks, because he talks about the fact that when you have a small goal, you just have to change incrementally, or you just have to do more of what you're doing. But when you have a big goal, something that you yourself can't even fathom, it requires you to become a totally different person. Some of us are still tied to the old us. So you need to take those two pieces of paper, and you need to make a decision. Do I want to be the old version or do I want the new? That's the first thing. And if you want the old, that's fine. Maybe you're comfortable and that's okay. But if you want the new, you're going to take that old paper and you're going to tear it up and you're going to burn it and you're going to cry over it. Because you know what? That was a version of you that you got comfortable with, and so did others. The new version of you is going to require a different you, a different people, different spaces, different opportunities, different chances, different courage, different faith, different vocabulary. That's what it's going to require. Changing your clothes. I've been changing out my wardrobe. My God, because I need to be a different person. I need to be unrecognizable to me and everybody around me. I need my love to be so intense. Some of us, and I realized it was trauma. I also started a class on traumatology. Like, my God, I'm like, Dawn, what are you doing? You're doing a master's. You're talking about psychological safety in your workplace. You're talking about being a business researcher. You're talking about organizational design. And you also took on traumatology advanced. How are you going to do this? Because I set myself to 10x in this year. You must not recognize me and I must not recognize me. So I'm asking you today, is that you? Because you know what? It feels good. It's scary, but it feels good to be a different version of yourself, a higher version, a better version, a more glorious version. And for those of you that are believers, this is not, a religious show or anything, but for those of you that happen to be believers, what God placed in you is such glory that to be anything less would be an insult. To be anything less. If you are a believer like I am, and there's a God that you serve, how dare you? How dare you insult him and his glory by being a lower version than who you were supposed to be and who he created you to be? How dare you? And yes, today I'm intense. And some of you may appreciate it, some of you may not. But this is who I am. This is the new version of Dawn. And I'm okay with being liked or disliked because God has created a different version of me that I need to evolve to. The glory cannot be seen as who you are now or the level of glory. The good book talks about going from glory to glory. This means there must be an evolution. So here's a formula. And I kind of stole this from Dan Sullivan as well, great author. He has a formula and he talks about, the commitment, which is necessary. And the commitment leads to courage. And that courage leads to capability. And capability results in confidence. And that leads to higher commitment. So you see that cycle. But I want to add to you. I want you to put on top of that, your first is clarity. So instead of the 4 C's that Dan Sullivan gives you, I give you 5. One is clarity. You need to clarify clearly. What is it I'm doing? What is it I'm made for? And then also you clarify that, then we're going to talk about your commitment level. Because all or nothing requires you to be all in, both feet, not on the river, on the bank, not 1 foot in, 1 foot cold. Again, the great teacher said, I'd rather you be hot or cold. Because if you're lukewarm, you're somewhere in the middle, you're tethering on this side or that side, well, you know what? I'm going to spit you out. And what happens is our destiny is going to spit us out. So you're either in or you're out. You're either going to live an intense, passionate life or you're not. You're either going to love deeply or you're not. So your clarity, your commitment, you must be all in. Your commitment is going to lead to courage because you have to have the courage to do the things that you were never prepared to do before. The courage to say yes to my future and my destiny, to my legacy, to my grandchildren, to my own life, to my prosperity, to my abundance. I have to say yes to that. And the courage to say no. This is not for me. This relationship is not for me. This job is not for me. Because the energy that I'm spending doing this, I could be concentrating my effort into who I'm supposed to be. We've become diluted. And you have to make a decision. But that courage is going to lead to a capacity. Now I know how to write a research paper. Listen, I'm like, bring it on. Let's do more research. My capability for something that I once feared. And what that leads to is your confidence. Because courage has to come before confidence does. We want confidence without courage. It will never happen. So today, I want you to join with me and we're going to declare some stuff over our lives. We're going to declare, we're going to speak, I am ready to be the new me. We're not just doing Dr. Harris's class because it's a good to have. We're doing Dr. Harris's class because we're about to move. I am ready for the new me. I am releasing everything. I love the old me. I appreciate the old me. And this is something that's going to make you tear up. I'm telling you. You got to say to yourself, I appreciate who I was. I value you at that point. I love you because you brought me this far. But I release you because I can't go further with you. And it's going to be an emotional moment, but just for a while. I promise you. Because then you're going to say, I embrace the new version of who I am. My purpose is calling me. I embrace purpose over my popularity. I embrace destiny over my delay. I embrace the new season of all or nothing because I'm all in. And when I'm on my dying bed, whenever that day comes, my creator needs to say, well done, my good and faithful servant. And I can say of myself, my race is finished and I've done good. I've done the best that I could. I've put my all or nothing in. And that's all that can be asked or required of me. So today, I pray this word has gotten to the root and the heart of who you are, like it's done for me. I don't ever speak from a script or from theory. My speeches are all experiential. So as I talk to you, I talk to myself. Because the glory that is in us in this platform, if you're up at 5 o'clock on a Saturday morning, my goodness, there's a glory that needs to come from you. Because if not, why get up? Why not sleep a little later? Why not rest? Why are you here? Why are you in this space if you're not going to optimize it? Remember, let's not optimize something that shouldn't exist. But let's now use what we have, the community that we've been building and the spaces that we're in and the people and the relationships that we've now augured to be the best version, most glorious version of who we were created to be. Dr. Harris, I want to thank you as usual. Again, this has been phenomenal for me. I want to bless you because it is because of you. You're a big part of who I've become. And I so appreciate that. I want to thank all of you that have been listening to me, all of you on the Success Mentorship group. I appreciate you greatly because if you weren't here, I couldn't be here. And for all of you that are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, that are listening in, may this word penetrate your heart and your soul the way it did mine. Have a wonderful day. Back over to you, Dr. Harris.
Wow. Wow. Dawn, I got 3 pages of notes. Thank you. What an incredible word. What an incredible vision. What an incredible delivery. I mean, when you said all or nothing, you meant it. It was like, this is it. I'm throwing down the gauntlet. I'm putting down my stake. You know, you know that picture when they put the stake down to claim the moon? It's like you putting down your stake to claim yourself. This is me. Wow. Folks, I can't wait for the discussion. I can't wait for the discussion. Thank you so much, Dawn. All or nothing. As they say, if your wood isn't on fire after this, then your wood is wet. Well, listen, everybody, thanks so much for being with us today on the Success Mentorship class number 413. Dawn Lovell, the guest speaker from Barbados, laying it out and giving us the word. Be sure to visit our website, herbertharris.com. And Dawn, you just put in a beautiful, when you were talking about the new you, When we were preparing that course, I think you were in one of the earliest versions of the new you for the new year years ago. That new you is a person that's always waiting there inside you, always waiting to let you know how great you really are. And so I invite you, those who are listening, to go to our website, herbertharris.com, and you'll see the new you for the New Year Home Study course. Get that course because that course gives you the ability to do what you want to do, be what you want to be, and have anything you want to have. Those of you on our Zoom, we're going to have our discussion in a moment. I put the link in for the new you for the New Year Home Study course there. But whatever you do, you make sure to say that this time is me. This time is my life that's important. This time is me in the winner's circle. This time is me who gets the prize. This time is me who's really made it. This time my dream is realized, and it's in your power to make it happen. Thanks so much on Instagram. Thanks so much on YouTube. Be sure to visit our website, herbertharris.com. And whatever you do, always remember you can be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have anything you desire, always knowing that the best is yet to come. Don, I forgot to give the preview for the new book, Life Lessons for Your Success. It's on Amazon right now. And many of you are co-writers in this book, so be sure to go to Life Lessons for Your Success by Dr. Herbert Harris on Instagram, on Amazon. All right, folks, have a great, magnificent day. Thanks for being with us, and we're going to now have our discussion on the success